What a beautiful tribute. It's perfect for you. Ah, she's like singing out of my soul. Sometimes we get lost in our own little world, but it's all so much bigger than we realize. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Ultimate YouTube channel all about world music and psychology. I've got all kinds of brand new things for you in the next couple of weeks, so buckle up and enjoy the ride. I want to check out Ren's brand new song, Mackay, in honor of his friend Callum Mackay, who he lost a few months after his close friend Joe. And I'm interested in what he's doing here. Make sure to subscribe. Go check out Ren's other art pieces and subscribe to him and subscribe here. Here we go. Oh, no, 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 no. Wow, guys. Oh, this is beautiful. I love it. You can hear the wind from the beginning. It makes it feel more raw to me. It gives it this really raw, live, up close, unplugged feeling. And I feel like that impacts us as well in regards to how we perceive music and how close he is letting us, if you will. I also love how he's playing notes simultaneously. To me, I feel like that may be symbolic of him and Mackay, him and Callum, and their friendship, right? This journey that they took together, these things they experienced together, and yet there's notes that he plays individually, especially right here where I paused and I'll rewind, where the notes ascend and it almost feels like, and this is just me interpreting subjectively, it almost feels like this nod to Mackay leaving to Callum, and I hope I'm saying his name right, Mackay, his friend leaving and passing on and going into heaven, going into eternity, this ascension of notes individually, whereas prior it was two notes being played at the same time, that journey of the two friends together, now one moving on up. That's just how I'm interpreting that. And that in itself is very poetic and beautiful. Very emotional. Very emotional. The way he's playing, it's very pure and it's very. I feel pain in my heart, but I also feel beauty. And the imagery here in the setting is also uniquely chosen. Let's rewind and let's start over. It ends with Callum Mackay, 1989 to 2011. Love and miss you always. What a beautiful tribute. I'd like to believe that Callum's spirit somewhere there just listening to that. And I'm crying because I think many of us know what it's like to lose somebody and the pain that comes with that. Death is a weird thing. It's very much part of life that we're all headed towards, some young, some old, some unexpected. For some, there's a chance to say goodbye. For others, not. For some of us, we get closure. For others, never. But death is very, very real, very painful, and we don't talk about it much, depending on our circles, that is. And of course, depending on the circle, it's dealt with differently, right? Some, they don't want to talk about it much at all, and all the focus is on the afterlife and eternity and hope of glory. For others, there's this concept of reincarnation, coming back or reaching some state of bliss. For others, yet again, it may be nothingness, and there's a sense of discomfort or peace that comes with that belief or thought. Whatever the case, death is a topic as intriguing as old as time, because obviously we're all headed for it. Everything around us is surrounded by both life and death, this beautiful dance between creation and between entropy and things naturally decaying. In our day-to-day, from a coffee cup getting cold without us actively keeping it warm, to leaves withering every season, to people dying. And this tribute is so filled with memories and pain and beauty. And the setting of that cliff, the rocks and the sky was absolutely beautifully chosen. I don't know if there's a personal message behind that. Maybe Callum, loved this type of setting, or there's something there, a memory in regards to what that meant to these guys or whatnot. But it was beautifully chosen, very, very beautifully chosen as a backdrop for this piece. And reading Ren's pinned comment below the video helped and affected how I perceived this piece. And that needs to be said, because as objective as I may try to be, I'm still a human being. I still have my memories, my feelings and experiences. I'm influenced by things I read. But I read his dedication and expressing that this was in honor of his friend Callum on his birthday. And that after he had, shortly after he had lost his friend Joe, Callum passed, and he never had a chance to really process that. And ironically, the last time he saw Callum was at Joe's funeral, and they got drunk one last time together and reminisced on the old times growing up. He looked up to this friend. He looked up to Callum greatly, loved and looked up to him so much. And then shortly after Joe's passing, Callum left, and he had this mental block and this creative block in regards to writing something for him. So now, after all this time, he's able to bring us a piece that is honoring his friend. And I'd like to say it's beautiful that he is sharing something so personal with the rest of us. Because while he is an artist and he's used to sharing things, it still does take a lot of courage to put that part of your heart out on display, to be reviewed and scrutinized by others. And he did say that as he sat by his piano one day and started to play with no real intention, that song came out with no words, just music. And he was able to express what through that music, through that piece, he was able to express what he couldn't with words. And I love that. There was one part where I almost wanted to start singing, and that was from my emotional state, from the longing in my heart. And I know nothing that I would have added could have put in words what he just expressed instrumentally. And contrarily, it might have, taken away. This piece was so full of a message just by having instruments. And I think sometimes we forget that, depending on the type of music we listen to or our exposure to music, we may think that message needs to be through lyrics, and we forget how much instruments actually speak. Those of you who are musicians, you'd probably know this. You speak through your guitar, through the instrument, the piano, the violin, etc. But those who are more used to consuming or listening may forget that at times. And even that it was just the piano, it was everything it needed to be. When I heard the initial notes after that introduction we already discussed, the notes he was playing gave a level of youthfulness to it, a childlike play is what I thought of. And then the note progression got a little more intense. There was some crescendo, and that made me think of their youth, perhaps the wilder years, right? Them getting drunk together, them being crazy, them sharing in life together, laughing, having all kinds of fun. And then things became more dramatic, but also a little more somber. The notes he chose and the composition felt more mature. We went from childhood to youth, that's how I perceived it, to maturity, adult friends now experiencing life together. And then it went back to that beautiful progression. La la da 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 no. And that was a beautiful red thread throughout the piece that I thought was beautifully chosen. It had a level of airiness about it, which maybe that's what that thought perception was influenced by the imagery and the landscape, but it felt hopeful. It felt reflective and sad, but it still felt hopeful. La, da, 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 da. Like you're waving someone goodbye. You're releasing them. You're holding on to these memories. There's the youthfulness, the playfulness, the intensity, now maturity. And now we're going back to that red thread, that beautiful red thread throughout his life. Because that's what makes us, our memories, our relationships. That's the way we can leave a legacy, and we can deal with some of those existential fears and desires for freedom, desires to bring meaning to things, desires to find happiness and fulfillment, is by making memories, is by making an impact on the world around us. And so going back to that chord progression was a beautiful way to just tie everything up together, to then play the notes simultaneously. And here in the end, not going back to that individual note ascending, as I mentioned in the beginning, but just ending with the two notes side by side. And that too was, I'm interpreting that as this beautiful nod to their friendship, remaining together, even though Callum is gone, holding on to that friendship, holding on to that memory of that togetherness. This was beautiful. This was absolutely beautiful. It's crazy how much we can say even without words, and what a beautiful tribute to his friend, and what a beautiful way for us to therapeutically even process our losses and the loved ones we've grieved and the things we feel. And it's kind of Ren to let us in on that piece of his heart, but also allowing us to have a piece we can now listen to that soothes and touches and allows us to feel some of our pain and our grief and release. This was beautiful. Let me know in the comments what you think. Make sure to subscribe, go support Ren, listen to this original on your own. Let's shoot his views and his algorithm up, and subscribe here too if you enjoy my content. I'll see you on the next ride. Oh, and if you're interested in making a suggestion via donation, you want to join my Discord, become a member or patron, check out all the links in the description below. I'll see you on the next ride. Heyo!